Hey, welcome into Stinkin Podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside Mike Evans. Thank you so much for making us a part of your week. We appreciate it. Make sure you continue to subscribe and share with everybody. Mike, I've got a quick one today because I got a flight I got to catch, but it's good to be with you. How we doing, buddy?
Yeah, let's start right there. Let's talk about the game you're going to be calling this weekend for Fox. You got New England and Cleveland. For Patriot fans watching this right now, what about the dreaded letdown game? You know, you just came off a really good stretch of football, and you won 3 straight on the road, which is
Right.
really unusual to have a 3-game road trip during the course of a season. Now you come home, you play a team in Cleveland that would be easy to overlook. You know, what's the letdown factor for the Patriots this week?
I think it's about 0 because if you look at this strength on strength matchup, the Cleveland Browns defense is frightening. I mean, they are flat out legitimate. And I'm talking about now, everybody knows Myles Garrett,
Right.
but the rest of that defensive line, the kid they drafted out of Michigan, Mason, they have got right off the other edge. They have got great front 7 players. And oh, by the way, don't forget this. They've got a rotation. They use about 8 different rushers that come off the ball. They're all excellent, and they all basically mimic the style and the effort and the tenacity that Myles Garrett plays with. And, there's part of me as I'm watching this film this week and prepping for this game that I understand that he got paid. I understand that Myles Garrett, is going to be in the Hall of Fame and that he got paid. But there's a part of me that just feels bad for guys that play in crappy organizations that are that good. I go back to Joe Thomas.
I was just thinking of him. Yeah.
Right, man, that dude was so freaking good. And he was such a, ambassador of our game and such an unbelievable player. And that dude was as good as we have seen in this league. The problem is that not a lot of people got to see him, because Cleveland historically was that bad all those years that he's played. Like, he played like they would win 4 games a year. And so, it's unfortunate, but I will tell you, this defense at all 3 levels, man, this defense can flat play. So when you face a team like that, especially as an offense, strength on strength matchup, you start to realize, man, you put on the film and you're like, oh shit. Like, these guys are good. Like, these guys can play. So forget about the record, man. We're about to get a mouthful. These guys can play. They're that good. So I don't think there will be a letdown. The other thing that's interesting, an interesting twist of this game, is last year when Mike Vrabel was out of the league for a year, got fired by the Tennessee Titans, where he did a sabbatical? In Cleveland.
Okay.
He worked in Cleveland last year as a consultant, if you will, but he was there every day, not so much in the day-to-day game planning, but mentoring players, kind of coaching up guys. And it was really interesting. He worked on the offensive side of the ball. So Mike Vrabel really focused on tight ends and offensive line play. It'll be really interesting as I sit down with Mike Vrabel tomorrow to just say, hey, man, what did you learn about that side of the ball, coaching on that side of the ball? And I'm sure he did some of that when he was in New England underneath Bill Belichick and all that, but it'll be very fascinating to figure this out. So you've got a great strength. The New England Patriots offensively are big time. And, I make fun of this all the time, but all the draft nicks that don't know shit from Shinola that talked about, Campbell out there at the left tackle position. He's got little Tyrannosaurus arms, and that guy's going to be a multiple Pro Bowler,
Really?
like an all pro. Yeah. Dude, you want to talk about tracks and coming off the ball and footwork and just shortening people's necks. And like, that dude, not only is he really technically very good, he's a very sound player, but man, he's got some nasty in him. He has got some like I'm going to make you a bitch in my game. And I'm telling you what, I love watching him play because he wants to finish people and he wants to, I'm not saying injure people, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, you want to knock a mother effer out. Like, and that's where he is right now. So I love watching him play the game.
We got some other games to talk about. Definitely the best storyline of the week. Aaron Rodgers going up against Green Bay at Pittsburgh. It's something we make a big deal of, but for the players, do they if you're a Green Bay Packer right now, are you really thinking much about going up against Aaron Rodgers on Sunday?
During the course of the week, now once the ball gets snapped on game day, nobody, you're not going to sit there and go, let's go get Aaron Rodgers. But, if it heightens your awareness, and in Pittsburgh especially, because you know how important it is to the guys on the team. The guys on the team know how important that is to Aaron Rodgers, right? And it's so funny because you look at last week when New England dismantled Tennessee, it was a close game early. But after the game, man, they're giving Mike Vrabel a game ball and they're hoisting Mike Vrabel.
Yeah,
Like they're excited. So, we're all super competitive, uber competitive. And when you get a chance to basically shove it up someone's can who basically told you, hey, you're not good enough to be here anymore. Mike Vrabel downplayed it. And there's other guys on that roster as well. Jack Gibbons, the linebackers on the roster. You've got Landry, the defensive end, outside linebacker, pass rusher that was part of that roster under Mike Vrabel. That stuff is real. And so it may heighten your awareness a little bit during the week. And then, as soon as you do come away with that win, man, I tell you what, that's a euphoric feeling, basically saying, hey, guys, up yours. And you made a bad choice.
Green Bay and Pittsburgh, which one of these two teams do you think is a more legitimate championship or Super Bowl threat coming out of their conference?
The Green Bay Packers. I think the first couple of weeks of the season, Mike, they were probably the best team in football. And then, they've had some injuries. They have had multiple wide receivers get injured. They're going to get those back. They've had, tight end get injured. They're going to get players back. And, talking to Cliff Kingsbury a couple of weeks ago after Green Bay dismantled Washington, I think it was week 2. He's like, that's the fastest team I've seen. They're so good at getting to the quarterback that in all the 3rd down and 5, 3rd down and 7, 3rd down and whatever, like they're playing flat foot read and they're basically driving on slants, driving on underneath routes because they know you're not going to have time to get over the top of their heads. They just know it. And so those guys are basically just driving on all the underneath routes because they know even if they don't bring pressure, that front four and Michael Parsons and the crew and the other guys, they're going to get to the quarterback. So I still think the Green Bay Packers, they're younger, and I think they have, as they get healthier, I think they'll have the opportunity to be a legitimate contender coming out of the NFC.
You've seen Carolina play a couple times over the last month. Should the Bills once again be on upset alert?
Yeah. Now, Andy Dalton's going to play because Bryce Young is out, but I said it last week. I'll say it again. I thought they made a horrendous mistake going back to Chuba Hubbard as the starter. And listen, man, I get it. Like you paid him and he's been a really good player, but the juice that Rico Dowdle has brought, like you run that, you play that hot hand, Mike. It'd be like being on a heater in a card game and you stepping up in the middle of the heater going, yeah, I've had enough. I'm going to be done with that. No, you keep playing that heater. And there was a definite difference in the way they played the game the last 2 weeks going into that game. And I just thought, man, what a mistake. I didn't like it at all. And I don't know if that's a Canales thing. I don't know if that's a Dave Tepper thing stepping in saying, I paid this guy. He's going to play. He's going to be my starter. But there definitely was a different level of juice with Rico Dowdle in there than there is with Chuba Hubbard. And I'm not saying Chuba Hubbard isn't a good player, and he deserves to get a couple of carries. But if I'm divvying him up and saying, hey, man, we got to run the ball 30 times a game to take some pressure off our young quarterback, 21 of them or 20 of them are going to Rico Dowdle. 10 of them are going to Chuba Hubbard. And the other thing is, this as well as anybody, man, sometimes it takes a little bit of a couple of opportunities, a couple of carries, a couple of reps, whatever, to get yourself into that rhythm, to really see it well. And when you don't start and then you get 3 plays and then you're out, and that's not ideal for running backs.
For the Bills, their issues, are they easily fixed? Maybe just a kind of a early to mid-season malaise that they kind of find themselves in that they'll snap out of, or are there some legitimate issues that they have to figure out if they're going to be a serious AFC threat?
Yeah, I think that you've got to figure out, the defensive issues that you've had, your inability to get stops, your inability to affect the opponent in the run game, all those different things, because I think one of the things that kind of the complementary nature of football, when you sit on the offensive side of the ball and the other team's running against you and having some success and, doing some things of that nature, you tend to, and this is on the offensive side of the ball, you tend to feel like I got to get out of what we do. And one of the best things they do, and they did last year, was run the football. James Cook has been unbelievable. You start to feel like, we gotta get a quick score. We can't afford to kind of grind out a drive. Like we feel like we just got to get ourselves into a rhythm. And so you get out of what really has made you successful. And I saw it a couple of weeks ago before their bye week. They were in a bye week last week, I believe, but a couple of weeks ago where a couple of red zone turnovers, like that was something that happened to Josh Allen early in his career. And I think those things happen to you when you feel the onus of, man, I got to be great or I got to be perfect or I've got to outscore teams because our defense is struggling right now. So they got to fix that defensive side of the ball. And if they can do that, then they'll have a chance to continue to be, one of the upper echelon teams in the AFC.
Game that we'll be watching very closely here, Denver and Dallas. This one's kind of interesting because it's strength against strength, weakness against weakness. You've got the Cowboys offense, which is the number one offense in the NFL, going up against a Denver defense that is widely regarded as maybe the best defense in the NFL. I'm still a bit skeptical about that, and then you got a Dallas defense that is dead last in the NFL, going up against a Broncos offense that, through the early part of the season is very much a inconsistent, blows hot and cold offense. So
yeah, it's very much
whose strength, or maybe in this case, whose weakness will turn out to be more of a strength, the Dallas defense or the Broncos offense?
Well, there's part of me that hopes it's the Broncos offense. Listen, Dallas's offense is big time, right? Their ability, the connection that Dak Prescott, the way he has played, the connection he has with CeeDee Lamb and Pickens over the top, like and that is a strength on strength because PS2 may be the best corner in football, and Riley Moss has got one of the best in football. I think he's number one as far as completion percentage against is concerned. The problem is he gives up some big plays over the top. And I guarantee you this, they'll game plan to get George Pickens over there on him. And I don't know that there's a better guy on 50-50 balls over the top than Pickens. The guy is amazing at what he can do. So that tends to me, like gives me a little bit of pause and nervousness. Here's the thing, though. If I'm the Denver Broncos, I'm going to fix my running game. This is going to be a get right game. They have not consistently run the ball well. They have done it in spurts, but they have not done it consistently. So for me, if I'm Sean Payton and this Broncos team, I'm going to say, hey, let's limit our menu. And here's what we're going to run. And we are going to run the absolute shit out of these 5 plays. And we are going to do it time and time again. We'll give you a different formation or different personnel grouping, but you're going to have to defend these plays. You look at the Dallas Cowboys, man, like this is going to be like, I might whisper this because this pisses people off in the NFL. This is bad. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys are soft. Did you hear that? They're soft. Man, I watched them play the Carolina Panthers, and the sisters were kind of to Andy Dufresne than the Panthers were in the run game to the Dallas Cowboys, and especially
Shawshank Redemption dropped there.
Yeah, yes, Shawshank Redemption. So like. Yeah, it's great. If it's on, you're gonna watch it. Yes, and let me tell you, the edges of the Cowboys defense, like tight ends, you want to get healthy at the tight end position, play the Dallas Cowboys defensive ends and their edge players. I mean, softer than butter. And so if you can't run the ball on the Dallas Cowboys, then you just aren't any good. And all this hype the Broncos have had, like, hey, they're one of the top four offensive lines, on top three, number two, number one offensive line in football. What have I been telling you for 2 years? That is the most bogus bullshit. I don't know who's paying, I don't know who's paying the people who rate that crap, but they ain't even close. And they've been subpar at best. So you want to get right. You want to get, back in the good graces of me. You want my praise.
You want
You better rush. I'm going over under. If you're not over 150, you failed. And not only that, Mike, but if you can be over 150, that means to me you're going to possess the ball. That means to me you're going to play with a lead. You're over 150, you do all those things. You know what happens to you? You walk away with a big time win because you keep Dallas's offense off the football field. Right. And that's one thing you got to do is you got to possess the ball. So at the end of the day, you got to have 150 plus yards rushing, and you got to have a time of possession of, say, 36 minutes to 20. Is it 24? Am I doing that math right?
Yes.
Yeah, 36, 24.
Yes.
Like that's the recipe for success.
Well, let's get to our picks. And how did we do last week? I lost.
You were 2-1, and I was 2-1.
Oh, so everything stays the same.
Everything's
so you're 500 now for the year.
You are 10-11.
Oh, okay.
And I'm 11-10. Only one measly game separates us, Mike, and you picked first this week. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to take. I love Kansas City, man. I mean, they seem to be figuring it out. They're at home. Patrick Mahomes looks like he's revitalized. It's a big number, but I'm going to lay it 10.5. I'll take the Chiefs over Washington. I'm going to take Tampa Bay to bounce back. I know they're banged up, but I think Tampa's a good football team. I think they're mentally tough. I think they bounce back. I'll lay the 3.5 at New Orleans, and I'm going to take Cincinnati. I think the Joe Flacco boost that he has brought, I think, will continue, and the Jets are just oof. So I'll take Cincinnati minus the 6.5 over the Jets.
Okay, I'm going to go with the 49ers getting a 1.5. I like the 49ers. I like what they did last week, beating the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm taking the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey went off last week. That'll be interesting. Then I'm going to go with the Pack -3 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just think the Pack are a better football team, Mike. I think they're a better football team. They're young, they're fast, they're vibrant. I think they'll get after Aaron Rodgers, create a couple of turnovers. So I'm giving the 3. And then I'm taking the Bears, getting 6.5 against Baltimore. Baltimore, now, it does scare me a little bit because they took the ping pong tables out.
Yep.
So I think Baltimore wins this game, but I think it's going to be tight, like tired of mouse nuts. I'm taking Baltimore winning, but only winning by a field goal late.
Hey, we always talk about the new coach boost. Let's talk about the removal of the cornhole boards boost.
Yeah.
Got to get rid of those cornhole boards.
That's right. That's what's slowing us down. What's slowing us down. Well, we moved them out of the studio. Like we hey, this cornhole's weighing us down. We got to be better here on the Stinkin' Truth podcast. Hey, listen, for everybody involved in the Stinkin' Truth podcast, thank you so much for making us a part of your day. For Mike Evans, I am Mark Schlereth. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share with your friends. We appreciate you, and I promise we're going to be better on our picks going forward because we haven't been very good thus far. For everybody involved, thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys next week.